Well, one quote in your piece reads, "Every politician must realise that the current Australian system exists primarily to make work optional for healthy people." Now, David, that sounds a bit like a version of the universal basic income where some people have to work and others spend their lives funding, the state-based welfare system. I mean, why would people even bother working if they know they can get benefits from the government and bonuses from the government for not working? It seems a little unfair.
Well, that's what the situation is now, and the figures that we have are based on single people who don't have dependents. Once you get into that area, of course, the amount that you receive increases substantially, and it challenges quite often what could be earned in working. Certainly, for many people, it is more attractive. It is, however, something which undermines society. The basis of a democratic society under the rule of law in a civilized world is that you have an essentially virtuous population. That is a population who believe in, essentially in Australian language, doing the right thing by themselves, by their families, by the community. And that's what the governments, politicians have allowed people not to do. And as I stated in that piece, it has made work optional. And what we have is not only people deciding to do that, but it is installed into institutions so that you get intergenerational welfare dependency. That is where this is something which is bred into a familial arrangement. That is unhealthy. And it has been extended. It was extended by the Whitlam government, who essentially invented a lot of this. It was extended by the Whitlam government into the remote communities, the indigenous remote communities of Australia, which could not survive on the basis of what they were. They really needed something more. And what Mr. Whitlam gave them was something that they amusingly called sit-down money. That is to say, you would receive money for not working. And that had a terrible effect on people, has a terrible effect on people of all races, not just the indigenous races, because it unleashes other things in a person's mind. Obviously, it creates the impression that you can do this, that you can, in the Australian vernacular, and I was just speaking to Kel Richards, I'm interested in the word, that is the Australian word, which apparently has been adopted into the American now, and that is bludgeon. It's a wonderful Australian, very expressive word, which comes from bludgeon, which is the weapon that you use to hit people. Well, bludger has become Australian, and now it's been adopted into American. It means, essentially, getting welfare. One of the ways in which you can become a bludger is getting welfare without being entitled to it. And that's the whole point. These are healthy people. They're young enough to work, they're healthy enough to work. We're not talking about people who have illnesses and they have decided not to work because, and you can blame these people for it, because the politicians have decided that it's not worth trying to control who receives this money.